off this year. So nowadays, it's the stores that are on the sales rack. From Bloomingdale's to Montgomery Ward, from Simpson's to Woodward's, these are very tough times in retailing. On Friday, I talked to Morris Saffer, who has earned a formidable reputation as a consultant hired by many of these stores to help bring the customers back to the aisles. Here's what he had to say. Mr. Saffer, you wouldn't be in this business and you wouldn't be this successful at it if you weren't an optimist. But I think you're increasingly surrounded by us, the observers, who are skeptics and pessimists about the retail world. There is a feeling about that the retail universe in North America is going to collapse. Is that an exaggeration? Do you share it?
The retail world is not going to collapse. These financial people who are feeding off the retail world may collapse. I think that's truly what we're seeing happening right now. We've seen a lot of people get into retailing who have no right being in retailing. Are you
thinking of Mr. Campo?
Yeah. I guess that in many ways the concept of a retail world being controllable on a pure financial level is just not valid. I don't think it ever was valid. If you remember in the 70s when retailing was in its worst recessionary period, and the accountants came in to try and save retailing. Well, they could cut the losses, they could make it more efficient, but they couldn't grow the business. The only people who grow retail business are the merchants. And when the merchants lose control of the retailing empires, then the retail empires don't grow.
But since they are in it, they can bring it down. And what seems to be particular about the retail world as an economic reality is that it's easy to bring down because there's all these chain reactions. Suppliers, bankers, shippers, transporters, they all need the bills coming in regularly. The store needs the Christmas shopper, can't stand to be without size 8 socks, and so forth. It may happen. These people who shouldn't be in it, according to you, may bring it down.
I don't think they'll bring it down. I think they certainly will perhaps create a new order, and out of the chaos of what's happening now will come a new order of retailing. You have to realize that if any retailer disappeared from the face of the earth right now, the world or the consumer would not miss them. There's too many retailers as it is. So the pruning of retailing is an ongoing process that just happens regardless of anybody else's interference. The financial, the LBOs, all the things that have created interest pressures on the retailers, which are far and above, totally separate from the retailing prowess, are a problem. There's no doubt at all about that, and that will create a new order, because out of this chaos will come a new order.
And since you're of finally what we might call the creative school, you believe in the merchant as much as in the advertiser, somebody who thinks of the customer. Tell me about the customer. Is he all shopped out? I mean, after 7 years of expansion, that could be your problem.
The customer is certainly not as excited about retailing or about shopping as they used to be. There's a lot more complacency, there's a lot more boredom, but there's still an awful lot of shopping. And there's an awful lot of opportunity to get a lot of customers. And you've got people like the Gap in the States and Limited in the States getting double-digit increases. JCPenney, which is a mainstream operation, underwent a complete catharsis. It was no place 10 years ago, eliminated half its business, went into a fashion-driven process, and is now getting very serious increases this year. Montgomery Ward, another reborn retailer, getting very serious increases this year. So you're not getting a dearth of success. What you're getting, as I said, is I think a reality where the merchant who really knows the customer, who cares about the customer, and can create new excitement for the customer, is winning big.
And a lot of them are new and young, which makes sense. But doesn't that mean that some of the old dignified names that seemed as permanent as Gibraltar may just die? Is Bloomingdale's a dinosaur? Altman's just closed in New York. Simpson's has troubles here. Of course, you may not share that diagnosis. They're your client. But you see what I mean? Are some of these big names on the way out?
I don't think they're on the way out if they're allowed to be true to looking after the customer. I think if you try and make them cash cows and you try and create something from them that's a real estate-driven or an investment-driven process, they will be out. Because the customer doesn't care about the real estate, the customer doesn't care about the investment return. They care about shopping and finding the size 8s that they're looking for. And the problem has been that the other agendas have become more important than the customers. So I'm just not ready to believe, in fact I don't believe at all, that the Bloomingdale's and the Simpsons are going to disappear if they care for the customers.